Yo, welcome back to my channel. Listen, I'm so glad to be back over here with y'all. It's been a while since I uploaded, but listen, as you can tell by the title, today, y'all, we're gonna be talking about, just never being chosen, and we also gonna be talking about unrequited love. Let's get into it. So, I literally have been wanting to do this video since last year, but y'all know Mark is never consistent when it comes to YouTube, but we changing that. We changing that. I'm doing better. But anyway, what prompted me to do this video today was in the beginning of June, I started a really good job that I'm grateful for, and one of my coworkers, she's this young white 25-year-old girl, and every day she was coming to work talking about the show Love Island. Now I really didn't know what Love Island was. I think I've heard about the show. One of my female best friends used to watch it like years ago, but she was like, you got to watch it. You got to watch it. You got to watch it. So I took a chance and I started watching it. Some of it is a little bit too much for me, but anyway, that's not what we're here to discuss. But I started to watch it, and there was a girl on there named Bella. Bella was my favorite at the time. Like, she was my favorite one on the show. I just felt like she was just very wholesome, if you will, right? And so as the show was going on in the beginning, there was a guy that she had really liked that, she wasn't really feeling the reciprocity from, right? And when it came down to who was being voted off and who was not going to choose, her, she was voted off, When she was leaving the villa, she said, nobody ever puts me first. So I literally was laying down and I hopped up and I went to my notes tab. I was like, yeah, I got to finally do this video. Last year, when I originally wanted to do this video, there was a slew of people on TikTok. It was a trend going on at the time where people were just giving their experiences of just never being chosen first, never being someone's first choice. And I feel like usually when people say that they are never chosen, I feel like the sentiment is that they are never chosen first. And I do believe that you can be experienced and not chosen. I do believe that there are people that can experience just how good of a person you are. They can experience your personality, your love, your protection, your talents. They can experience all of what and who you are and still never choose you. You know what I'm saying? So I do believe that a lot of us have been experienced, but when it comes down to being chosen, a lot of people just have the sentiment that I've never been anyone's first choice. I don't know what it is for somebody to look at me and say, hey, I choose you, and to choose me fully, to choose them in word and in action and in deed, right? And one of the things that I will say, when I saw that trend going on last year, I saw a whole lot of women talking about it. Of course, it was mostly women talking about this, but one thing I will say is that men, we want to be chosen too. You know what I'm saying? A lot of men share this same sentiment, because although we choose women first, the woman still got to choose us back. We just can't walk up to a girl and be like, okay, you my wife, let's go. You know what I'm saying? You still have to choose us back. And so a lot of men have this sentiment of, I've never been chosen. I do believe there are certain spaces that are needed to tell men to, hey, make sure that she reciprocate back to you, bro. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you are wanted. Men want to feel wanted as well. Now, before we get to talking about, being chosen, I think we have to first talk about how do people choose and how do people prefer to be chosen? Because a lot of times in my observations, when it comes to generally just men and women, and this is not all, but usually men, the way we choose, we see a girl first and then we hear her. Whereas women, a lot of times, they'll hear a guy first. They'll hear him out, then they'll see him. You know what I'm saying? They'll hear a guy, see what he's about. You know what I'm saying? It's not so much physical, visual a lot of times, and then they see the guy. You know what I'm saying? And then all of a sudden, the guy who's not all that tall, or who's a little bit rounder, all of a sudden he becomes the hottest dude to them. Because now they heard him first, and now they see him. And that's not everybody. I'm just saying in general, sometimes it's physical and sometimes it's emotional. A lot of men, they have to be needed. But I have always said, I need to be wanted. I want to be wanted. Like, if you want me, those needs are going to get taken care of. If you let me know and you reciprocate that you want to just breathe my air and you just like how I am, you like who I am, how I am, that any needs that you present before me, they definitely gonna get taken care of. And I think a lot of times the problem with when it comes to men, a lot of times, with this whole like simp culture, whatever, taking care of needs of women that don't even want them. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times, and that results in being used, that results in being led on, that result in being played. But I'm not even just talking about men. I'm just talking about right now across the board. Like, it is important that somebody choose you, not just out of need, but out of desire, right? Hey, I need to be wanted. You know what I'm saying? As I said it before, we have to look at how people choose, and we have to look at how people, want to be chosen. So if it's men choose visual and women choose emotionally, sometimes that intertwines. Sometimes it's the opposite. You know what I'm saying? But it all depends on who's doing the choosing and who wants to be chosen. You know what I'm saying? Because if you are a person that you feel like in your romantic life, or even in your career life, or in sports or whatever, that you are never chosen physically, you know what I'm saying? That may be something that you can work on. That may be something that you can change. There may be something that you can say, hey, I feel like for the weight I am, or the height that I am, or how I look, I am never someone's first choice. I remember when I was in high school, I talk about this all the time. I was a short, fat kid. And I'm going to be honest, I really didn't know what it was to be chosen. That wasn't my experience to have, women, even in my 20s, where it was just like women. Well, my 20s was different. I take that back. But just in high school, in my early 20s, I just didn't know what it was to be chosen physically. I had a friend who, respectfully, so I don't want to say his name because he's actually engaged right now. He don't watch my videos. But I had a friend when we were in high school, and we were in our early 20s. This dude never had a problem getting a woman. And I never knew what that experience was like. Like, it was always a different girl, whether it was by a dating app, whether it was somebody that he met, whether it was just somebody that we knew. He was always getting chosen. And I used to be like, yo, I can't even find somebody to go get some ice cream with, let alone find somebody to invite to my local church. You know what I'm saying? And when I say chosen at that time, I mean chosen physically. You know what I'm saying? But I always had women who were like, oh, Mark, their love, his love for God. There were women and people that were recognized, like, my character. But it wasn't until, I think I started in the gym when I was 22. And y'all, I am going to get that body game video out. If you still want that body game video, let me know. But it wasn't until like I started to get into the gym for the first time ever in life when I was 22, because I was a big dude from like high school to like 22. And I started to, pack on muscle. I started to lose a lot of weight. That's when I started to finally realize what it was to walk into a store and have a girl, look at me or give me double takes. That was the time where I first started to know what it was to have women, walk up and tell me, like, you look good. I was in Kroger recently, and there was a lady in there, and she was like, I'm just going to say it. She was like, you are just so built. I had a gig one time. And I heard the girl say to the girl, I was coming up to set my keyboard up, and she was just like, he is so fine. Those physical choosings did not happen until I was 22 and I got into the gym. So my point is that if there is a physical choosing that is required or that you desire, a lot of times that can be dealt with, I don't know, getting into the gym, or, or if you feel like it's a height, or if it's a weight thing, or if it's, sometimes it can, sometimes it not. So if that is the experience there, that's totally understandable. Whereas I feel like the greater experience of people feeling like they've never been chosen is on a scale of just feeling like the person that I am, just not me and my performance, but me and my being, the person that I am. I feel like there have never been a person that have walked into my life and say, that's the girl that I want, or that's the guy that I want. And a lot of people feel that way. I talked a little bit about this on TikTok, and I was seeing other people's, videos on TikTok, and there was always somebody in the comments like, oh, choose yourself, choose yourself. And, and we shouldn't look for external validation. And although that sounds nice and deep, a lot of times that's not always attainable. A lot of times that's not always realistic, in the sense of just how we are wired. And I do think that you should validate yourself. There are times where I do look at myself and I'm like, whoa, I'm very handsome. There are times where I'm working on a song and I hear myself and I'm like, yo, I can really sing. I'm really talented. But just how we are wired, there is a level of external confirmation and affirmation and validation that is necessary for how we operate. You know what I'm saying? And that's why which I'm working on a whole nother video, self-love, it can, as awesome as it is, cannot replace, you know what I'm saying, any type of romantic love. You choosing yourself and building yourself up, of course that is necessary, but just for how we are wired, we need a level of external validation. And a lot of that desire dates back to even our childhoods, even the people that we played with, the people that we went to school with, even our own families. And I always say all the time, like, a lot of us know what type of love that we need by the love that we've never gotten. Like, a lot of us know, like, that certain type of love that we give, we've never gotten it ourselves. And so a lot of people spend their years, you know, waiting and believing and even chasing, you know, for a love that is reciprocal, waiting on somebody to walk into their life and say, yo, I choose you. And a lot of times people who have this desire to be chosen first, they'll settle for anything. Which is why a lot of people find themselves in situationships. They find themselves in situations where a person is breadcrumbing them. And although you are getting the breadcrumb first, you still eat the meal last. You know what I'm saying? And so that's still not good at all. You have to realize that you are worth the choice. You are worth the first choice in somebody's life. And I think a lot of times when it comes to, you know, people coping with never being chosen, it leads to unrequited love. That's where a lot of times unrequited love come in. Unrequited love is a one-sided romance. It is when you love or like somebody who do not return it back to you. This is deeper than a mere crush. This is deeper than, you know, experiencing a rejection with somebody that you don't know. But unrequited love is when you have a deep feeling of romance for somebody that just cannot return that love to you. And unrequited love, it's a whole different type of love and heartbreak. Unrequited love is different from a girl at the gas station rejecting you. It's different from a guy, I don't know, at church that you've only seen once rejecting you. Like, it almost feels like a curse. It almost feels like a death sentence, because you know that the love that you are putting out, you're never going to get back from this person. And so one of the things that about unrequited love is that not only is this person not choosing you, but the danger in unrequited love or a one-sided romance is it is confirming a deep belief and a deep fear that we have about ourselves. You have to remember that this is a love that has taken time to develop. So like I said earlier, this is different from, you know, you being a guy trying to hit at the girl at the gas station and her telling you no. Or this is different from, you know, you being a girl and it's a guy in your friend's social group that you only see once every other month. No, but this is something with somebody that has built over time, and you have not had the proper boundaries, the proper actions to resist the love that you have for them that you're not getting back. And so now it's fully a one-sided romance. And the thing about it, because it is taking time, the danger in one-sided love and unrequited love is that it begins to confirm a fear and a belief that you have for yourself. So now you are instead of spending your days moving on and accepting the rejection and accepting their resistance, now you are spending your days answering questions that you have always had about yourself. They don't love me because I'm ugly. They don't love me because it's probably my attitude. They don't love me because it's just probably because, you know, just how, well, it's probably the same reason why the girl rejected me 3 years ago. I'm probably never going to be loved. It might be because I'm unbearable. It's probably my weight. He don't like my weight. It's probably because I'm a single mom and I knew nobody's ever going to date a single mom. So it's me. It's me. Because you have this inner deep rooted belief about yourself, this situation that you are allowing to take root, because you have those deep rooted beliefs about yourself, it is now confirming those fears that you have about yourself. And so now every time you see them, you're picking at yourself. Now every time you're around them, you're tearing yourself down. You are confirming to yourself, this is why they do not love me, because I'm this, I'm that, or I'm not this, and I'm not that. And it is definitely not a good way to live. It is damaging to your self-worth. It is damaging to your self-esteem. The danger with unrequited love is a lot of times when we love somebody that do not like us back or do not love us back, the reason why a lot of times we have a hard time getting over it, or the reason why we take rejection so deeply, is because a lot of us have this mentality that if this person would just accept me, then it would give me a step up. But if this person do not accept me, it puts me at a step down. And yo, that is not true at all. That is not true at all. If they accept you or if they don't accept you, it does not change your self-worth. And the only reason why you think that is because in your mind, you have put this person on a pedestal. In your mind, you not only obsess, but you admire this person so much that you think, man, if I just get to them, it would add to me so much. But you also have to consider yourself. You also have to consider the person you are, the person who you are, how you are, so that your view of them is not imbalanced. It's almost like, and to my fellas, they know, when you like a girl and it's mutual a lot of times, there have been moments like when you will go out with a girl and, it's not that you don't like her, but you're like, I'm confident in the fact that she like me, I like her. And so when I text her, I'm giddy, but I'm not nervous. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like, when we go out on a date, I'm ready, I'm hyped. You know what I'm saying? But when it's a girl that you're like, yo, dog, this girl out of my league, she's so super fine. If I just get with her, ooh, my life for you. And so then at that point, you kind of find yourself performing. So because you have them on a pedestal, because you have them on the platform, now you try to, for lack of better words, you want to get on stage yourself. You want to perform too. And it doesn't flow like that. And so the reason why a lot of times with unrequited love, the danger in it is that you have this person on a pedestal for what you admire about them, not for really who they are. Because there is a belief that has you thinking that they are more than what you are. And that's not true at all. Another thing about unrequited love that I wanted to stress. Now, there are a lot of articles out there talking about how to get over unrequited love. This was not that video. This video was me just wanted to, talk some through free thoughts. So I would definitely look up some articles, talking about how to get past liking or loving somebody that do not like you back. And again, let me just stress, this is not about a crush. This is about somebody that you just like, I just cannot get over the fact that they do not want me like I want them, right? The other thing that I wanted to stress in this video is that a lot of times when people are on their journey to healing, or they're on their journey to detaching from somebody who is not returning the interest or the love that they have for this person, you have got to get rid of the false hope. You got to get rid of this false hope that one day you're going to work on yourself enough and it's going to be 2 years later and they're going to come around and they're going to regret that they ever rejected you. They're going to regret that they never gave you the time of the day, and then the ball is going to be in your court. And then all of a sudden you got to let that go. You got to let that go. The goal of healing is not to get back, but the goal of healing is for you to get on. Don't work on your get back, bro. Work on your get on. You know what I'm saying? They might not ever come around. And that was my whole thing. Like when I was considering myself in the red pill community, because it was always these videos on that girl that rejected you in 8th grade. Man, get in the gym, bro. She gonna inbox you and be like, yo, get in the gym. That girl that didn't want you 2 years ago, bro, man, get some muscle mass on. Watch she come around. That might not ever happen. That girl or that guy might not ever see your worth. This person that you are crying and obsessing over, they might not ever come around and say, you know what? I'm sorry that I missed out on you. You know what? I do like you. That might not ever happen. So you have to get rid of this false hope of healing. Get rid of this false hope of healing. You know what your goal should be? If you are a Christian, one of my favorite scriptures, I can't call the scripture, but I know the verse. The verse where Jesus said, this is the goal of healing. Jesus said, the prince of this world, meaning the devil, meaning the enemy, has come against me, but he has found nothing in me. Whew! That is the goal of healing. That is the ultimate goal of moving on. Is Jesus said, the enemy has come against me, but he has found nothing in me. That is the goal of healing. The goal is to be able to see them and not be moved, to hear their name and not be shaken, and to have a thought about them and not be torn. That is the goal. The goal is for you to not diminish yourself because this person is not receptive of who you are. That was the whole point of this video, because I know what it is to, not be chosen, or to, like a girl that's like, you know what I'm saying, but, and you also have to recognize when somebody is breadcrumbing you too, because a lot of people do that too. They love to experience what they can experience from you to benefit them, but they never have any plans to what do we really all want? We just want the ability for somebody to just want to be around us and just breathe the same air as us. And they just want to be there. No strings attached. You don't have to do anything. After I do provide and protect you, after you do nurture us and all that stuff, do you just want to be in my space? Do you desire that? And will you choose that? So listen, if you are dealing with unrequited love, I would suggest you detach and separate yourself from this person. I would suggest going to therapy. I would suggest looking up articles that teaches you about step by step, and just, connect with people that choose you, friendships, family members, people that make you, that aid you in feeling your best self and being your best self. Whoever this person is, let me tell you, they are not worth your mental health. They are not worth you walking around questioning why they are not choosing you, when there are a ton of people that are ready to choose you. So yeah, that's all I got for y'all today. Listen, I love y'all. I got some more videos coming for y'all. If y'all would do me a favor, drop in the comments, hit me up on TikTok, Instagram. Let me know, what do y'all want me to talk about? Because when it comes to YouTube, I'm trying to take this thing there with y'all. But listen, I love y'all. And listen, I will catch y'all in the next video. Peace.